the Children's Commissioner not being specified. Mr. Chairman.
I call the honourable member Alfred Naira. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I want to echo the sentiments of my colleague who's on the Justice and Electoral Select Committee, Mr. O'Rourke, especially when he spoke about the concerns around breaches to privacy. Mr. Chair, we know that any breach of privacy is not only invasive for a client, but also can leave them often vulnerable. And so with that concern in mind, Mr. Chair, it's been really important in our Select Committee to ensure that the conversations, the listening to the submissions was important to ensure that we had a balance around the safeguards so that there was a balance for privacy as well as for flexibility. Mr. Chair, we know that important for information sharing, that it enables agencies to work together to examine and to understand the customer's needs as a whole. Mr. Chair, I was honoured to be at the consultations and engagement for the Green Paper around vulnerable children. And what constantly came out through a number of the providers that were there was the importance of the barrier in which information was not readily shared, and the importance that though we've talked about the breaches of information, we don't often talk about the benefits that this has. In fact, I want to echo some of those benefits in regards to this bill. On the other side, there was some scaremongering, and David Clark was hearing on the other side, people were talking about the breaches. But, Mr. Chair, can I echo the words of some of the submitters from the New Zealand Medical Association, Age Concern, Privacy Commissioner and Nova Institute were clearly supportive of the current safeguards that the bill contains. This is straight from the horse's mouth, from the people who actually work with the real people, not just the people in ivory towers. The Privacy Commissioner noted that the safeguards were mutually supporting and that none of them should be reduced.
That's right.
Mr. Chair, also too, we consider that the protections in this bill strike a workable balance. The protections are not too onerous for agencies who wish to have information sharing agreements and ensure a strong, practical privacy safeguards so people can be certain that the government is acting as a trustworthy steward of their information. And steward is an important part of that. Mr. Chair, I want to echo, these are the words from the Privacy Commissioner noted in their submission. And so let's listen to this, to Mr. Prasad. The framework in the bill provides a package of safeguards which are practical, mutually supporting. The bill currently represents a fine balance between providing the flexibility agencies are requesting and ensuring that privacy considerations are given due weight. Mr. Chair, these are submitters who work in the industry. These are agencies who deal with information and the sharing of information and are wanting to strike that balance. Mr. Chair, clearly they are indicating that we have struck the right balance. And in order to do that, there are other safeguards. In regards to when drawing up information sharing agreements, agencies must consult with the Privacy Commissioner. The Commissioner may provide a report to the relevant minister on any related privacy issues before agreements are approved. The minister must take the report into account before agreements are finalised. Mr. Chair, we have seen many situations where the benefits of sharing information has made a difference to the lives of a number of our children and also our families and also clients that are in need. Mr. Chair, we support this bill. The bill has had huge support from agencies. We've heard them in the select committees. There is a lot of scaremongering that's going along. There's a lot of talking about ACC breaches and so forth. And all we hear is about the things that have gone wrong rather than the things that have gone right. And many things have gone right, Mr. Chair. And so we do support the submissions that have come through. There have been many of them. They've clearly indicated, in fact, if anything, Mr. Chair, many of us, those of us, there's a few of us that were actually there. Many that have spoken so far and others actually weren't there to hear these. So, it's understandable. They don't have that sense of confidence that was given to us by the submitters, Mr. Chair, as we heard them in our select committee hearings. Mr. Chair, finally I want to say this, that again I want to echo the sentiments and the support of New Zealand First in this regards. And as we've seen that it does strike a balance, obviously we will be ensuring that there's a safeguard. We will be monitoring this as we do with all our legislation to ensure that we do ensure that the safeguards, that there won't be the breaches, but instead there will be the benefits to the very clients, the children, the families, the people of our community that we see in Aotearoa as well. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I call the honourable member Andrew Little.